I think you can appreciate that we've been very generous so far, but it's been another week and we still don't have our money.
Look, I'll get it to you. Things have been difficult. You know, I got a couple bags of salt in that went bad. I have a staff member in the hospital here.
Yeah, I mean, that's okay. And we're very patient people, but...
You are very patient. Thank you so much. Thank you.
But in the meantime, it would be rather unfortunate if something were to happen to one of your liners. If someone were to go in with...
We just got a new liner. You know we can't afford that.
Maybe a razor blade or two, do a couple of snips in there. You know, it's not something I want to see happen to you, but it would be a very unfortunate circumstance.
2 more weeks. Give me 2 more weeks.
Okay, I will consider... Hey, what is this?
Nothing.
What's that under your shirt?
No.
Oh, this guy's wired up. He's a snitch. You get him, Salt Hands Joe. All right. Hey, hi, everyone.
Forgot the direction that turned.
Yeah, you gotta grease him there at the end.
All right. So I'm Graham.
And I'm Ashkahn.
And today's question is, why, for some, does their neck hurt while floating? I'm guessing it's something about tension leaving the area in that... leaving the body in that area. Yeah, that's the question.
That's it. That's question mark. No, period.
That was a question mark. You were right.
Well, the second sentence.
The one that wasn't part of the question?
Yeah, that ended with a period.
Oh, yeah, agreed.
All right, well, now that we've got that settled.
Yeah, we'll see you tomorrow. If you have any more questions, just go to...
neck tension, I feel like it's more than just some. Like, I think it's a pretty common thing that happens to people during their first float, specifically.
Yeah.
It happened to me during my first float.
I was fine.
What? It didn't happen to you?
I was kind of okay.
Oh, really? You didn't? Your first float, you didn't have any neck tension?
I mean, like, not more so than I do, regularly standing up. Like,
really?
It
like
didn't
me
exacerbate it.
Like the whole first 30 minutes or so of my float, my very first float was all about just trying to understand how to get my neck from not feeling like I was holding my head up.
Oh, interesting. Well, I have a lot of neck tension all the time, so I think I'm just constantly working through it, But no, it felt better after my first float. Not worse.
Well, I mean, it went away. Well, so, okay, here's what I think was happening. I think that when you first go into the float tank, it can be kind of unusual to totally trust the actual liquid and totally let go of your head and really just kind of, let it support you. And so that at the beginning, you're kind of slightly holding your head up.
Because it feels you're used to supporting your head in water so that you don't drown, right? Like, it's a very natural human instinct to do this.
And that's what I noticed. I mean, it really felt like I was feeling tension from very subtly, having to keep my head, kind of doing the beginning of a sit-up for 20 straight minutes. And I could just feel in my neck, and I just had to really let go, bring my arms above my head and kind of focus on totally kind of relaxing back in. And I even found that specifically if I pushed my head back, that it would kind of trigger my body to feel what it actually felt like to not be holding my head up. And that kind of allowed me to let go of those muscles.
It's fun. That's what I still do to relax my neck inside the float tank.
You push your head back?
Yeah, totally. Just push it down a little further and then let the water buoy it up to its natural place. And then, it's like my body can understand where it's supposed to just be held that way.
Yeah, and we say that during our intro speeches because I think this is just a really common first float thing.
Yeah, they're do like Graham did, not like Ashkahn during your first float.
And the interesting thing is if people do feel it, I feel like almost no matter what, it will go away within 30 minutes or so. If you're doing a lot better at it, it might go away faster. If you're not, eventually you just give up and you can't hold your head up for that long and inevitably kind of forcibly relax into it. So it's kind of like a small first float hurdle, or at least that's what I thought, and that's what I've heard a lot of customers say and stuff like that. I always hear it as a very common first float experience, and I don't really hear of it too much afterwards. I haven't heard of a ton of people saying they continuously get neck tension in there, or definitely not anywhere near the same levels as what it's like for first time floaters.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. I think that's one of those getting used to this weird new salty environment that you're in. It's just a little different than what your body's used to experiencing. So you're one of the closest things to training that you have to do in order to have a good float,
And this is all just a theory, I guess. Like that's my guess as to why people get neck tension that's what, just mostly because what it felt like to me is that you're just holding your head up in there.
And I mean that seems to really be what customers say too. I mean
Yeah.
this is our very standard kind of walkthrough introduction,
Right.
right? Is saying, oh, by the way, you may experience some neck tension in there, So a lot of people, especially during their first time, feel like things are sorer than usual, and often we feel like that's just because you're not relaxing into your float. And we have this neck pillow here if you want to use it.
Yeah.
Right. And at least on my walkthroughs, I'll always say that I actually kind of recommend trying to not use the neck pillow, even if you feel some neck tension there. Because often there's just like you actually do kind of need to relax into it, and something will kind of unwind in there.
Mm-hmm.
And that it's a lot like getting a massage. Often when you're getting a massage, you'll feel some pain and tension as the masseuse is kind of working through things. And then you get out and you're like, oh, I guess I actually worked through some stuff when I was in there, right? And so I feel like that's similar for neck tension that I still experience when I'm in the float tank, not because of my neck kind of being held up artificially by my body, but just because you start being aware of all of your aches
Sure.
and kind of bodily uncomfortablenesses, if that's a word, when you're floating. And so for me, yeah, it's like I become aware of it, and then I kind of relax through it. And in that sense, it's still a little like a massage, even several hundred floats in.
Yeah, and I think it's a very common place to hold tension, shoulders and neck, especially nowadays where people do a lot of computer stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's just keeping tension in your shoulders, and that kind of general part of your body is I think a very typical place that it goes for people.
You can't see it, but as we've been progressing through this podcast, Ashkahn and I are just
stretching, standing up straight,
our
dropping
posture
your
is
shoulders.
getting better and better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even just talking, you'll notice this too when you do walkthroughs. As a little aside, like whenever I'm talking about the neck tension part, I notice the people that I'm giving the walkthrough to all start standing up a little straighter, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you're right. My posture should be a little better."
So there you go. That's our theory.
And if you have any other questions or theories of your own you want to toss our way, go to floatanksolutions.com/podcast.
And we will talk to you tomorrow.
Daily Solutions out.